Whoa, whoa. Take it easy. Don't everybody rush it at once.
Here we go. Here we go. Wednesday night.
This isn't Black Friday, guys. Relax. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, sir?
How are you, Mr. Delgado?
Pura vida.
Pura
Okay.
vida. Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Do you have wins that occurred during last week?
Yeah, I got in fact, I'm onboarding one right now. He paid me. I got another one, a smaller one. He wanted reviews. So I just sent out the invoice today on that one, just ready to get paid. And there's a third one. She's been lingering, but the invoice is out there. So pretty jazzed.
Nice, man.
I did some customer service today. I was so nervous to get on the call, and it went like a lot better than I thought.
What do you mean customer service?
Just, once a month reporting, how you doing? How's everything?
Oh, that's good. A little check-in, huh?
Yeah. It's funny because if we do like the grid on LeadSnap, they don't have good ratings, but they're so happy with like, man, keep doing what you're doing, Alfred. I'm like, okay. Love it. So I got to figure something out, but they're happy. So,
well, today's call, we're going to talk a lot about, I've kind of came up with a list of ways to kind of improve the grid, and it's today, second half of today's call is going to all be about like using LeadSnap to help you with the GMB stuff. So
right. Yeah. In fact, one of those ladies that it's been a week, but the end of the call was, hey, by the way, let me show you what your grid looks like. She went from, no, Alfred, I can't afford it right now, to like, that's what I look like. No, start it up, Alfred. Start it up.
Yeah, it's that trigger is crazy,
like instantly. It was crazy. I was more than willing to show value, help her, and all I did is literally show her that grid, and she was like, what the heck? No, go ahead and start it. So cool.
That's good, man. That is
Awesome.
awesome. Very cool. Congrats on what sounds like a new client, right? And then it's always nice to, when I first started, I would get really scared every time a client would call. I was just like, oh, like here it comes, like they're upset. And it just kept being like, hey, can you make this little change? Or we're really happy with what you're doing, or like, hey, I want to expand into this market, and I remember that, like, just really being scared to have those conversations and like my heart would start racing when I would see their name on the phone. I'm like, but that's changed over time. And like most of these people, when they make a decision, they're not really going to jump ship like right away, and doing that check-in, Jeff did that check-in. We had this client for years, and he was at $1,500 a month. And Jeff started to, like, I put Jeff, I didn't have enough time between building the software and running my agency to check in with all the clients. And Jeff came on and he started having regular conversations with this person. And we went from 1,500 to 13,000 a month because he built that relationship and expanded it. So I think those monthly check-ins are huge. So definitely recommend those.
I highly recommend that.
Awesome. Who else? We got wins. Who else got wins?
I also win.
Mr. Biren from the Netherlands.
So in 1 week I went from 2 GMBs to 10 GMBs.
I love it, man. I love it.
So that's eight GMBs verified, and I got 9 codes, and one was suspended before I even put in the code. So.
Well, I think you've got probably a pretty good chance of getting this back. We've seen about 75% of the GMBs getting reinstated by, just kind of harassing them until they submit.
I'd love to learn more.
Yeah. I will be putting that in. We have some exciting updates coming with training and stuff like that. And it will certainly be a part of that.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like this is game changing for me, because meaning like having 10, it means that I actually can start making some freaking money. And I'm
Yeah.
still sending postcards, by the way. I'm not going to stop
Absolutely.
until I have 20.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you just keep the more lines you have in the water, you know, and not all the GMBs, kind of like the websites, not all the GMBs are going to do great. Some of
Mhm.
them might take longer to rank, right? But
Yes, and actually one already ranks in the map pack like 1 day after indexing because it's such a low hanging fruit, and it doesn't
yeah,
even have a phone number yet.
man, that's awesome. That's when you know you're choosing the right niches. So congrats, man, from 2 GMBs to 10 GMBs. That's huge, man. That's and it's really more than the difference to 8. It's you've kind of like cracked the code now where you're stuck around
Mhm.
2 GMBs and now you've got a system that allows you to scale, right?
It's great because if I get 8 GMBs per week for 4 weeks, that means I have 32.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And I'm working 70 hours a week though, like I'm all in like it's crazy. I'm
Just
doing
Darren, I
nothing
want
else.
you to take a moment and think about this advice. It's good to do this like these sprints, but don't get in
Still
the
sprint,
habit.
it's not long
Yeah,
term.
yeah. Don't get in the habit of making like 70-hour work weeks the norm, right? Plan it and say
It's not the
like, okay,
norm.
at this time, maybe it's at the end of July, like for the first 2 weeks of August, you know, I'm going to go to the United States and I'm going to take a break and I'm going to hang out and I'm going to go see some friends that, you know, we've only
Hang out
talked.
with Patrick,
There you go, man.
go to the
Cool.
beach.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's not far. Cool.
I
All
plan
right,
ahead.
Darren.
Patrick's usually working his 70-hour weeks too. You got to make sure he's not on a sprint.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. Right.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Does anybody else have some wins? We are winless. Jeff, we got any in the Facebook group? How
I am only, let me see.
I see one. We got a question here. Has a new accountability 90 days started yet? So we're just a little bit delayed on that. We're about to roll that out. So we should be rolling that out here in the next couple of days. We've got all the groups divided. So we're going to throw you guys into little different Facebook groups. So we have between 4 and 7 people in each group. And we really try to pay attention to your guys. Like we try to get people with similar incomes so that you can be around people that are solving similar problems as well as the time zone, but it's a lot to balance. It's really hard. And we didn't want to have groups of 2 or 3. We really wanted to have a little bit bigger groups so that you guys could share more. So we will be rolling those out. I'll tell you what, if you guys, today is Wednesday, July 6th. So we've got, let's say another, if you guys haven't submitted, you can find the link and I'll give you until tomorrow morning. So like 14 hours from now, 7:38 Eastern time. I'll give you another 14 hours or so. I don't expect to have a huge shift and we can just add people into a couple of the groups. But yeah, you have to get that in right away if you want to be in it.
Another question he's posting is, how do I be part of this training in group? Maybe if you can explain that really quick, just so they have a clear view of what's going on.
Yeah, well, so I mean, obviously you're part of the group because you're posting a question within the group. That we have a software that we built and we have tons of training in here. The software supports the training and you know, the training supports the software. So I run the agency. I started my agency about 6 years ago. And when I was going through it, I had a lot of problems with different software and processes and all sorts of things. And having a background as a software engineer, I kind of built this to solve a lot of the agency problems that exist. So it's not a requirement that you use the software, but there are tremendous benefits to it. And you know, I think over the next month or so, where those benefits will even increase further. You have a 14-day free trial. We go through it. I'm going to show you today. I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that the software can do related to Google My Business. I would encourage you to jump on the calls. This is an awesome community. You know, there's tons of people that are doing big things. Some people are just getting started and everywhere in between, right? There's been tons of people that have been at $0 and then, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, they're at $10,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month just by following this training and kind of doing what we do. We're in the trenches with this. This is not, I know there's a lot of like gurus out there that are, you know, they just like teaching. but we actually run an agency. We built the agency. We've been in the trenches for years. So what we do and what we teach is like, it's how we run our agency, and it's been very successful for us. So what's up, Emily? Happy to see you on here. Speaking of the prospect who owns a national franchise to possibly give leads for one location. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, doing really well for one franchise. I mean, there's a whole tree you can climb there if you perform well, and everyone in that franchise, they don't compete against each other, at least like in a local market. And you know, they trust each other to some extent. So it can be an amazing referral source if you knock it out of the park for like one of the franchisees.
The heat maps are really good. I've worked on deals like that, Emery, where I was pitching them. I kind of did the heat map searches on a few of their locations, like 3 or 4 in the beginning, and then just showed them the potential of even just expanding the rankings just a little bit in that circle, that could be an extra 10% boost in revenue for them, or whatever the number is. You know, can be really powerful when you have that visual of the heat map to show them and get them excited about the potential of working with you long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today with what I'm going to go over. The heat map can be super powerful. That visual nature is something that can easily be shared. So if you can share it to a franchisee and you're doing really well, that thing can kind of sell itself up the tree for you. And yeah, so I would definitely make sure that they have access to that visualization. You can share a PDF with them, or even share that link. Okay, cool. Any more questions? Any more wins? Are we ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so today the kind of title of what I'm going to teach today is 11 ways that LeadSnap can improve your GMB game. So I've got these listed off, and I've got them over here in a secret location. I don't want to reveal them all to you at once, but I'm going to roll through them. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to tell you guys how I use this, how we've used it in our agency. So let's share some screens here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to start with, okay. Jeff, can you see my screen?
Yeah. We're good.
All right, cool.
You're live.
All right, so I'm going to start at square one. Okay, so improving your GMB game. A lot of it is going to come down to, so the first one I have is choosing the right locations. Okay, like using the heat map, we can understand, and this should actually be like choosing the right locations and the right markets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this heat map tool here, and let's just talk due diligence for a second. And if I'm trying to pick a market to go into, and let's say, hold on one second, guys. Looks like we're doing some testing here. Let me go on to this next page here. Okay, so this is a remodeling company here. All right, so this is a remodeling company in Dallas, and you can kind of see that this company is they're doing really well, right? Look at this heat map. So just for those of you guys who haven't seen this, this is the term basement remodeling for this Google My Business. So every Google My Business has a unique identifier, and we can use that identifier to find their rankings across the city. So that's what this heat map is doing, is it's saying, like, if you had done a search at this location, you would be 4th. Over here, you would be 2nd. And it looks like almost all the other locations are going to be 1st. So you would show up 1st in the map area. So this is all about the Google My Business or Google Business Profile map area. And so it's telling us our ranking. So if we're going into Dallas and we're trying to make a decision, for whatever reason, we've decided that basement remodeling is a niche that we're interested in Dallas. And to be honest, I don't know if Dallas has basements, but this is just a test, right? So pretend that it does if it doesn't. So we want to know who the top dog is in town, because the analogy that I always give is like, look, I'm 6'2", and if I were to go and play basketball against people that were, my own age and my own size, I'm probably going to win some, lose some. But if we choose the right games, if I go and I find third graders to play against, it's going to be hard for a third grader to beat me when I'm 6'2", right? That's a huge advantage. If we choose the right area, we get to choose third graders. And unlike a basketball game with third graders, they can't tell us that we can't play. We can play whatever city and whatever niche we want to. So choosing the right niche is huge in your Google My Business game. As you heard Biren say earlier on this call, like he doesn't even have a website attached. He doesn't have a phone number, but because he's chosen such low-hanging fruit, some of the stuff is already ranking in the map pack for him, right? Just because he chose the right niche. So choosing the right location is huge. And this heat map tool is excellent at doing that. We've set it up because we have built this for our agency. As I mentioned at the beginning of this call, like we have adjusted this because we want to be able to understand what the market looks like and who the best person is. So just because this person, whoever this is, we have the averages here. So this is ideal remodeling. So if this is the area that I was trying to target for my Google My Business, this is the #1 company to consider. They have an average score of 1.04. So if you were to take all the points on this and divide by, like add them up and divide by the number of points, then you would come back with 1.04. We can see in the Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, they're just ones. So they own like 75% of the map. Well, they're ranking first in 75% of the map. And then there's a couple spots in the Northwest where they're not. So that's why they have that 1.17. Okay. So we know that they are #1. That does, just because they're all ones, that does not mean that this is a bad market to go into. These scores are relative to everyone else in the market. So if this company, if we go and look and we do our due diligence and they're terrible, but they're still able to rank first, then we know that like if we do better than terrible, we can overtake them. So I don't want you guys to be discouraged when you see this. In a place like Dallas, we know that Dallas is like a big populated, wealthy city, right? So this is hard to achieve what they've done here. And I'm usually don't see this. And like, but again, we're looking at basement remodeling, and basements may or may not exist in Dallas. So what I want to do now is I'm going to dive in and I just want to look. So I would start to do my due diligence. I want to see how many reviews they have. They have 23. I'm going to see how many pictures they have, which I think it now shows you if you hover. Yeah, they have 752 photos. That's our ranking factor. It may not be the biggest one, but it matters. I'm also going to look, they have a Google business site. So Google business sites, I feel like they get like this little extra bump from Google, but you can kind of see they don't have a lot of content on here. It's really hard in my mind to like, this looks like a terrible site, but I see this consistently where these Google sites seem to outrank other people. So build a Google business site. They're free. Like it doesn't cost anything. They're easy to do. So I would go through, I would look at the backlink. So identifying the right markets, that's point #1. And that's how this tool can help you. So it's going to help you choose the right markets. It's also, let's look at another company. So I can flip this heat map. It doesn't cost me any searches. Look at these guys. Actually, let's go down the list a little bit more. Let's look at this Black Line Renovations. Imagine this is who we're trying to rank. And now I want to know where I should put, like, okay, I'm not ranking well. One strategy is I could get another GMB at a different part of town. So maybe this one in the Northeast is a location that I should set up another Google My Business. So the first one is choosing the right markets and locations. So that's point #1 on how we can improve things. Okay, point number two on the 11 ways that LeadSnap can help you help your GMB game. Okay, so number 2 is building an action plan. Okay, so now if I know this is my Google My Business and this is how I am ranking, what am I going to do about it? First, we need this information. If we don't have it, we can't really build an action plan. We can get hyper local with our strategies. So I can come in here and I can zoom in on these areas. So the strategy that I would use if I were this company is I would look for the ones that are closest to 3. So you could kind of think like in terms of impact, ranking #1, and then like a little bit below that is ranking #2, and then a little below that is ranking #3. And then there's a cliff that drops like 1,000 feet, and that's ranking #4. And then all the other ones are kind of closer. So if you're not in the top 3, you're on the second page. If you're not on the first page, then you're not going to be found very often. So the biggest bang for the buck is moving things from 4 to 3 and 5 to 3, right? So let's look for those. Look at this area up here. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So I would probably be focused on this northwest part of town if I were them, because I think it's going to be easier for you to move a 7 to a 3 than like a 12, right? And this kind of works like if you throw a rock in the water and there's like that ripple, then that's how it's going to work. So if I move this 6 to a 3, these other ones that surround it are going to get hit by that a little bit. Those are going to move up, right? So we're going to get that kind of ripple effect. So building the action plan. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about now is like what that action plan can be, right? So we're going to go into some of the strategies. So I've mentioned this in the past. One of the most important ranking factors is reviews. We know that. I know that there was a Google My Business sweep, and we had a number of reviews that were removed, and we saw immediate negative impact on our rankings. As we've improved and gotten reviews over the years, like we've seen a very positive correlation and impact on ranking. So how can we get reviews? So we have the automated review collection built into LeadSnap. So if you have not seen our automations, I would encourage you guys to check these out. We have reputation management where we can monitor the reviews directly within here. So every company gets its own funnel. So this is a funnel for bear removal. The goal is to drive somebody to this funnel. And then if they come here and they click on 5 stars, I can redirect them to Google. If they click on 1 star, I can have that sent to my clients, right? This prevents bad reviews. You don't have to use this. That's an option. You can have it all go to Google. And, like if I can come in here and I can say what happens with each one. So number 5 goes to review. You can see down here, number 1 goes to feedback, but I could have them all. So I can set that however I want. I can add in whatever review sites I want. Okay, so that's the review collection, but how is it automated? So that funnel right here, this funnel, there's a link that we can send to that funnel. If I go in here and I create a new automation, I can choose the review request template, and I can continue to do what's in the sequence until a review is submitted. So when a review is submitted, it will pull them out of the sequence. So I can send text messages requesting a review. There's this link option here that says include a link to the review funnel. So you can see right here for this text message preview, this is not the real link, but it's going to go to this page here. And it already knows because the leads that come in or whatever you add to this is associated with the company. And it knows like, okay, as it goes through this process, what's the company that this is for? What's the associated review funnel? And we're going to send a link to that. So what I have set up here is sending a text message, and then it's going to wait 3 days, and then it's going to send an email. And I could build this out and I could harass these people to give me a review for as long as I want. But obviously there's some diminishing returns and you're probably going to frustrate people at some point. So I recommend just sending like 2 requests. But you guys can automate this, and there's like, you can actually take the automation a step further, because you could have a message going out to your clients. And you could set up a trigger where if your client updates a status, that it automatically starts this. So get creative with this, explore it, test it. It's not going to give you 100% reviews, but if if it gives you 25% reviews and it's automated and you can get your client enrolled in this, that's huge, right? Look at some of like we have a tow truck company that we're going to get started on this. Actually, I'm going to get all of our clients to like just actively be participating in this and constantly gathering reviews. So our tow truck company, we're sending over 1,000 calls to a month, right? If I can get 20%, like maybe he's closing a third of those, right? So he's closing, let's say 300, right? If I get 20% of those, then I would be getting 60 reviews a month, automated. No, not paying for them like I've heard some people like to do, but that would be huge. 60 reviews a month. What does that look like 3 months, 6 months, 2 years from now compared to the other tow truck companies to have that in place? That is going to make a massive impact on the ranking, and I'm not paying anything for it, and it's all automated. So it's a beautiful system. I encourage you guys to take advantage of this. So that is point number 3, is automating the review collection. All right. So The next thing is you guys want to reply to reviews. And this next one is, this is going to overlap with a later point. Actually, I'm going to rearrange this. So you guys have the ability to add these columns in here. And so the next one is the organization and kind of like identifying deficiencies of your Google My Businesses. So if you add these in here, we can see how many photos we have. We can see when the last review date was, right? So we can use this as kind of like a real-time spreadsheet that is pointing out the deficiencies that we have in our system, right? Or in our business, in our portfolio of Google My Businesses. So this is like one that we got suspended. It was a bear removal. It was a fake Google My Business that we set up just for demo purposes. I think maybe we demoed it too many times and that led us to a suspension somehow. But you can see we have 14 photos. That's not enough. We saw that Ideal has 750 photos. That's a lot. There's a level of legitimacy when you have that many photos that's coming with it, right? So I want to have like between 30 and 50 photos. So if I can go through and you can sort this, right? If I can go through and I can say, hey, there are 14 photos here. That's me identifying a deficiency. You can see down here, there are 2 reviews that haven't been replied to. So that's a problem. So I can use this to help organize stuff. You can add in tags on this. So if I want to add in the tags column, I can go over here and I can make my own system for whatever, and I could use this to stay organized. We are going to be adding a lot more columns to this. If I'm missing a website URL, that's a deficiency, right? And there's a lot of other columns on here. I could see if I'm missing my description, right? I can see when the last review date was. This is too long. If this was my Google My Business, I wouldn't want this to be more than a month old. This is way more than that, right? So these are the deficiencies. Use this system. If you get your stuff in here, you could take advantage of like identifying this stuff. So the next point that I kind of briefly mentioned is replying to reviews. Unfortunately, the only location that we have live in here, or that we had live in here, got suspended. And I'm not really I haven't got another demo one, but you can see that we have these 2 options here. If this were connected and this were live, then my reviews would show here and I would have the ability to reply to them right from here. Okay, so that is point number 4. Okay, so the next one is very similar, replying to questions. And it is my belief that if you were to ask a question, let's say I said, hey, Ideal Roofing, do you guys do basement remodeling over here in the southeast part of Dallas near like Bob Jones Park, right? So if I wanted to improve my ranking for that term and that location, and a question were asked like that, and then the question were answered, then I could respond to it and I could build relevance between that location and and that term for my Google My Business, right? You don't want to go overboard with the questions, right? I would say a good balance, like an organic balance of questions to reviews, would probably be 1 question for every 10 reviews or so. So that is definitely something that you should take advantage of, and you want to respond to those questions. The reviews and the questions, the replies to those are opportunities for you guys to get the terms that matter and the locations that matter associated with your Google My Business. So when you have the opportunity to reply to them in a way that capitalizes on that, then take advantage of it. Okay, so the next point we have here, which is going to be what number are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, number 7, I believe, post. So posts are a great way for you to take up more space in the search results. Google loves itself. So being able to utilizing a piece of what Google has, so they're giving you this tool called Post that are associated with your Google My Business, and they like to see activity on their platform. So it's a no-brainer to do this. You're going to take up more space. You can have another opportunity to mention locations and keywords and this type of stuff. And we have something that's really cool that's built into LeadSnap. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, But okay, first of all, when you make a post, you have the option to choose a few different buttons, right? I can choose to have a learn more button. I can choose to have a book button, a call now. I have all these options that I can put in here. So you can put those buttons in here. You can also upload photos, right? You can upload, this is another, like if you want to improve your ranking, you could geotag a photo to the location that you want to improve your ranking for. So when we saw the area that we selected that we want to rank on the heat map, this is going back. These are the action plan steps, right? So on that heat map, we saw where like, hey, we want to rank better in that like Northwest area. So like maybe the reviews that come in are talking about the Northwest, and the questions that come in are talking about the Northwest, and the photos that we can upload into our post are talking about the Northwest. Okay, so the posts last about a week, but we have this cool feature in here where you could schedule them. So if I want to, I could say, hey, I want this post to go live on the 13th, and I could set this up as a recurring post. And what also I can do is I could use what we have in here called spin tag. So I could say, hi, and then I could say, Jeff, and get the right character in here. We'll say Alfredo and Biren, right? So as I put this in here, you'll see that it's going to choose one of these. So imagine that I've written out this like description here with maybe a couple hundred words, and I've used like tree service and then stump grinding and all these different services, and I'm rotating it throughout. So I could always have a different, you can see it's when I click on this, it's choosing a new combination. So if I had written out 250 characters here, and I had maybe 10 or 12 of these in there with different things that will make sense regardless of what choice they make, then each one will be unique. That gives it a lot of opportunities to be unique. And when I combine that with scheduling, then I have like this automated, unique scheduling for my post that are potentially talking about the different areas and mentioning the different keywords that are going live on a weekly basis, since each one of these only lasts a week. I could quickly have this go for months. Like I could build out something quickly and have this posting for months. Okay, cool. So that is the scheduling post. All right, so for the next one, I think Biren has part of this. For Biren, he has just recently kind of cracked the code on getting the Google My Businesses. So I've taught the strategy in the past of using Craigslist and what like some changes that Google made has resulted in a lot of people not getting postcards that are requested. And then I think it was last week's call, we talked about seasoning the Gmail account and how that can impact your receiving these cards. But once you make your post on Craigslist or some other service so that you're requesting to get a Google My Business, you have to nurture these people. So the next point on here is kind of like nurturing the Google My Business request cycle, right? So let's talk about this. How would I do this? So let's say I have I'm going to make a new automation and I'm going to make it be blank. Okay. So I'm not going to have a trigger for this one because I'm just going to throw people in. Actually, you know what? I will have a trigger. This is what I would do. I would automate this. I would go in and I would make a form on a website, and that form is going to be like my Craigslist or whatever the method is. When I get a contact, I'm going to enter their information into this form. Okay, so I'm going to put in their name, their email, their phone number, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to set up a filter that says, okay, it's going to be for this like Craigslist company that I have. We'll pretend that this is Carol's Roofing. So if a new form submission comes in for my like GMB nurturing or my Get a GMB website, then I'm going to send an email, right? So this person has agreed to give me their that I can send a postcard to their house. So maybe I've had the conversation depending on how I set up my sequence, and I know that my Google My Businesses take like maybe 4 days for them to show up, right? Or maybe they take 5 days, and I'm going to put this as 4. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to say hi, and I'm going to pull in the person's name, right? So this is the person that I filled out on my own little GMB nurturing site. So the contact is the lead that comes in, and because I have it set up as a form, person's name I'm filling in into this form as the contact. So I could say, hi, just wanted to give you a heads up. Your postcard should arrive tomorrow. Here is what you can expect to receive. Okay, so for this company, I'm going to set up the logo to be the Google My Business postcard, right? And I'm going to drag over this logo. So now they're going to get this email, and it has this logo on it. It has this picture of the Google My Business. So I put them in this form, and then I don't have to remember to follow up with them because LeadSnap's going to do it for me 4 days from now. It's automatically going to send them an email. I can also have it send a text, right? Maybe I want to send a text message that says, hey, and I'll grab their first name again. Just wanted to let you know that we have requested the postcard. It should be arriving in 5 to 7 days, right? So I'm staying in touch with them, and I'm building like trust and legitimacy by kind of like having those touch points, right? So this is all happening automated. I don't have to wait, right? So I actually should have put this on the other side of this wait, right? So, but you guys get the point. It should have been right here because this comes in. I'm going to send this out right away. And then after this, I'll wait the 4 days, and then we'll go down to this step and we'll send out that email. And then, I could send up a follow-up email. I'm going to wait another couple days. I'm going to say I'm going to wait like 2 more days, and I'm going to ask them. Like this time, the subject of the email is, did you receive the postcard, right? And I'm going to, like, you guys can add in, you can see I've added in support@leadsnap.com as an email address that I can send to. So you can authenticate whatever email address you want in here and have those emails come from that, right? So if you were talking to them through, Craigslist or whatever it was, you can put in your name here and say Tom Jones. I'm going to use the contact's email address. So I'm waiting 2 more days. So this will be day 6. And you're like, hey, I'm going to grab their first name again. Just wanted to check to see if you received the postcard. If so, can you send over the code? Right. What is the best way to pay you? Right. Let's get that in there. Just let's incentivize them. Best way to pay you. Here's what we do. We can do Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, right? So we can pay people all these different ways. And between those, we can usually get them taken care of. So this automation and this follow-up, look, guys, if you guys are missing the timings of this, it's really easy for this person. They've got their own life. It's real easy for them to become disconnected, and they don't care about this Google My Business as much as you do. Some of these people do, like $50 to somebody or 20, like however much you're paying them. That could mean the difference for some of these people with like eating or not or something. Like you're not going to have people on here. You're not going to have like an attorney who's trying to pick up an extra $50 or some like doctor, like, oh, I need to like collect this postcard. It's going to be people that need money most of the time. But the follow-up sequence and like making sure that you are touching them at the right time is essential for getting those postcards, because they can look like junk and they can get thrown away. They can forget who you are. Maybe they were like having a drink at 2 a.m. and they just like, yeah, I'll do this. And then they forget about it the next day. So it's important to stay in touch with them, and building out an automation sequence to help you manage that is very, very useful. So I think that is the next point. So that is number 1, 2, 3. I should have numbered these 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Another one, uploading photos, right? We know that within our Google My Business, we just saw the top ranking company there. I don't think that this isn't the thing that is this isn't going to move the dial. Photos aren't going to move the dial like reviews are. I think reviews are going to have a much bigger impact, but they do help. And there's no reason not to do it. You can do it for free. So within LeadSnap here, we can go in and we can upload our photos. We have on our roadmap, I don't have a time frame for it, but what we're going to do is we're going to allow you guys to upload a bunch of photos, and then you can kind of schedule the photo upload to go at different times. We haven't started building on that, but that is on our roadmap. That is something that's coming. So you already have saw, like when we were looking at the organization step, you saw that we have the ability to identify which ones don't have photos. This is where you can go in from all your Google My Businesses in one location. You can log into them, and I can upload a photo right from here, right? And I can choose the category. This is something that should probably be done frequently. You can have your VAs, right? Maybe you can give them access to your LeadSnap account, decide what they have, what they can see and what they can do. You can give them the ability to upload photos and monitor, hey, where do I need new photos? I would encourage you guys, when you upload these photos, don't use photo stock for your Google My Business. That's a no-no. You want to use real photos, okay? If your clients, you've got a client in place, get them to send photos to you. Like you guys, like if you are sending them value, don't be afraid to like make demands on them. Like, hey, we need reviews and we need photos. Enroll them on these things. Let them know that, look, all the leads that come in are going to you. So the better this ranks, the more business you get. The more reviews you get, the easier it's going to be for you to close, because people are going to trust you more, right? And the more reviews you have and the more trust they have, the more people are going to be willing to pay. So you can actually, you're going to get more leads of what you'll close more, and you can close them for a higher dollar. So getting them on your site, you've got to take a minute to explain them. You guys have sold them on your agency, on your ability to deliver this stuff. Use that same sales bone to sell them on the value of this stuff. Get them on your side, right? Let them know it's important. Give them some strategies like, hey, we've got this automated review thing. Here's what you can do. You've got 6 crews. Like you could run a contest where like whoever gets the most reviews from one of your crews gets a $100 gift card to like Starbucks or whatever's important to them. I guarantee you that $100 that you spend, if all your crews are competing to get reviews from their clients, it's going to be worth way more than $100 that you're giving away to them, and kind of getting them in that mindset and having this system is part of how you see some of these companies that have, like when I'm looking and I'm doing my due diligence and I see a company that has 700 reviews, that's kind of like, I don't really like who's like, maybe I want to look in a different market where someone has 23 reviews or 6 reviews, right? So it's an uphill battle. So let's build that. Let's build kind of like future proof our Google My Businesses by doing this stuff and building a system to do it. Okay, awesome. All right, so another key the next point on this list of the 11 things is the real-time updates. So you guys have this notifications area here. So it is important, like Google My Business status change. Let's talk about that. So there's really a couple that there's only a few that you're going to have. So one is that, hey, your Google My Business was suspended. That sucks. And, it's not that LeadSnap prevented your Google My Business from being suspended, but it tells you that it was suspended. So if you're trying to master your Google My Business, which is such an important part of this business model, you need to know when one goes down because you need to react to it. It could go into pending. And with the way things are now, where like things go into pending or they're suspended and they go live, that's just as important to know. So if you have a Google My Business that's been pending or has been suspended and you are applying for reinstatement, getting the notification and knowing in real time that your Google My Business is no longer pending, it is now live, or it is no longer suspended, it is now live. That's important because there's all these other things that you need to do once it's live, right? So a review or a question, as I mentioned, there's value in responding to those. So you need to know in real time when those are happening, right? And you can get the in-app notification. So that's this bell over here, or this email. Like you can get an email. So we lost a Google My Business one time, and I got the email within 10 minutes, and then we made a post on Craigslist. I think we had a postcard sent out in less than 24 hours from the time that we had it sent, and then we ended up getting a Google My Business in like 7 days from the time it was suspended. If I didn't have that notification, I would not have known. All right, so the final one here is the Google My Business suggestions. So from time to time, as you build your portfolio, some perhaps dishonest competitors may mark your Google My Business as closed. There are certain situations where if you do not say that this is not closed, your Google My Business will be marked as closed, right? So it doesn't happen all the time, but I think there's some weird algorithm combination where someone can essentially shut down your Google My Business, maybe if they have a local guides account or something like that. So you need to go in. This will give you a notification that someone has made a suggestion that your Google My Business is closed. At that point, you can't tell it from within LeadSnap that it's not closed. You'll have to actually log in, but you want to get the heads up that this has occurred. Okay, so another part of the information is the insights, right? You should be monitoring and paying attention to this. So again, this is suspended, but typically there's a graph here that's showing you the views and it's showing you data, showing you customer actions, and paying attention to this is important. So these kind of like real-time updates is the next point on LeadSnap. Okay, I've got 2 things left. So point number 9 is ordering citations. So I mentioned this before. We are now offering citations. You guys can order it. Reach out to us. You can create a ticket. Order the citations. We have 3 different packages. They are something we order for everyone. Sometimes we order multiple. We're about to release another package of citations that is going to be subscription based, but it will be 300 citations, and those 100% of those will stick. They may not all be indexed. I think their index rate is higher than normal citations. Citations, if you guys don't know, are just your address listing on a page, such as like Yellow Pages or Yelp. So our team will go out. It's tedious. You can do it yourself. You don't have to buy them from us. If you want to buy, you can buy them from someone else as well. But I think it's advantageous, regardless of what route you choose, that you get some citations. The citations that we're providing to you are the same ones that we use in our agency that have ranked Google My Businesses. We have, I think, 1,000 of them. So we've ranked Google My Businesses all over the country. These are the citations that we use. This is the process that we use. You guys have the ability to order from us, but do it or don't do it from us, but do it either way, because in my opinion, after 6 years of doing this, citations have an impact. I think that their impact maybe is not as great as it was at one point, but it certainly, in my opinion, still has an impact. And I just would not be, I'm just going to get them on every time, right? If it gives me a 2% edge and I find 10 things that give me a 2% edge, then I have a 20% edge, right? So, all right, awesome. Okay, so as Alfredo mentioned this, our Google My Businesses and using our Google My Business heat map. This is point number 11, and this is kind of like why are we still on this page? There we go. So this is kind of one of the most important parts of this entire system is our ability to close clients. Okay, so you can use the Google My Business heat map as a way to close clients. So if I am prospecting this client, I've decided that I want to go after, who is this HVAC San Diego King. And I show them, as Alfredo did. Alfredo said that, this woman said, hey, tonight's not really the time. Today's not, it's like, we can't really afford you. And then they saw the heat map and they're like, sign me up, right? So using this heat map, this Google My Business heat map, to close deals is an absolute monster. And if you guys don't have a subscription and you're trying to close clients, I urge you to do this, because this thing will pay for itself 1,000 times over if you use it effectively. So here's a little pitch that you can use. So let's say that I've gone out, I'm going to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to find out this HVAC King San Diego. So I'll go over here and let's find these guys. So this is HVAC King San Diego. They've got 83 reviews. Look at this, 5 stars, 83 reviews. And this is their website, right? A lot of times you can pretty quickly find out who owns this company here, right? So there is, I don't know if it's the case on this one. You kind of dig through this, you can find out a lot about them. Look, here's a dead Facebook link. I was going to try to click on that. but I would go through this and I would try to find more information about this company. I'm probably going to do my best to get some sort of permission and have a little bit of a conversation. If I can have that conversation, then I feel like there's a very good chance I'm going to close this person. And that's the hard part. So like getting to that conversation. You don't want to be sending out these like screencast videos that I'm going to tell you about just like willy-nilly without having any conversations, because it's just not going to work as well as like you're going to make a lot of videos that are never going to be seen, right? So if you can get a little bit of a conversation going and then you give them the hammer, right? So let's pretend that Tom owns this HVAC San Diego King. I've had this conversation with him and I say, hey, Tom, you know, it's obvious, like I see that you guys have been in business. I want to reference stuff that's personalized to them. So I'm going to make a screencast video. The one that we use is called Screencast-O-Matic. There's a lot of ones out there. It basically just allows you to do a screen recording and talk. You've probably seen these. You can even do like your little video down in the lower corner. And then you're going to just like talk to them like you're having a conversation. It's very impactful for them. You say, hey, Tom, I can see that you guys really care about business. You guys have been in business for 12 years. You've got 83 reviews. Every single one of them is 5 stars. Obviously, you guys care a lot about your business. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't have those type of reviews. But when I plug you guys in, you guys are doing really well in parts. But so what this tool is doing is it's showing you that this is your company. And if I had done a search up here, you would be either 20th or more down here. And you're first, right? So I'm going to walk through this on this screencast and I'm going to explain to them. And I'm going to say, look, over here, you know, in this, it's kind of like in a really good spot to be ranking first. Over by the San Diego Zoo, you're ranking first. And then as we get further away into like Mission Bay and over here out on Point Loma and all these other parts, Lincoln Park, you guys aren't doing so well. You're not in the top 3. So here are 3 strategies that you can use to improve. And I'm just going to tell them, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to tell them the same stuff that I told you guys. Like, hey, if you get reviews that mention these, if you get people ask questions, if you add some of these posts and photos, and like if you put content on your website that talks about the parts that you want to rank in, then you're going to get you can change those rankings. And I want to show you, maybe you've heard of this 5 Diamond Mechanical, and they're actually the top ranking person in town. They have a similar heat map to you. I think it would be good if you're trying to pitch this guy, if you found like if there's a lot of if there's a lot of difference between, like if this guy is like a 3 and then he's like a 5 and this guy's like a 9, and you show like, hey, look at this guy. So when it goes from like a map that's like mostly orange and red to a map that's mostly green, then you kind of get that response that Alfredo's new client had, where they're like, that's me. Like most business owners are competitive. And when they see that they're losing in like undeniable representation with numbers and colors, that is just like super easy, it elicits an emotional response for them to take action. And that is a monster when you're trying to close a client, because like they say like people are going to like justify things with logic, but they're going to make decisions with emotion. And one of the most powerful things about this tool is it's both of them wrapped up into one, where it's like, here's the logic and the numbers that are saying exactly where you are, what elicits that emotional response. And competitive people don't like to lose. Business owners a lot of times are competitive, right? So it's going to really hit on a trigger, which is a phenomenal closing tool. So those are the 11 ways that I think LeadSnap can help you related to your Google My Businesses, leveraging the information from the Google My Businesses, really take it to the next level. All right, we have about 7 minutes. Who's got questions, comments, thoughts? Jeff, we got any questions to catch up on?
Yeah, a couple of things, Patrick. Kenny shared in the Zoom chat that Open Corporates is a good place to find out information about the owner and other details about the business. You can also go to Better Business Bureau and look them up there. And it usually has like the time they've been in business and the owner and secretary and president, things like that. All valuable information when you're trying to pitch. So we have that. And then Ariel was saying or asking about, do we have GMB audits in the software?
That is on our roadmap. And like I said, there's people out there that are, I'll take it as a compliment. There's people out there that are copying the functionality that we built directly into their software. I even saw one site. It was funny because they actually took a screenshot of one of our heat maps. So there's like identifying markers on our heat map that is on their homepage as a for them to sell their heat map, right? Which is like, I'll take that as a compliment. They didn't use their own, they used ours. Like it was like I was actually able to like reverse engineer and find it in the history, like the person that had done it. But so I'm keeping our cards close to the sleeve on what we're releasing. But I'll tell you, the GMB audit stuff is a big part of what's coming. There are some pieces that are kind of related to it that I think are going to blow you guys away, but I'm just not going to demo any of our upcoming features until they're ready to release. That's kind of my new policy. If you guys ask a direct question, I'll tell you if it's coming or not. Another like resource like Open Corporates is seamless.ai. You guys haven't used this. It can help you, like, it's crazy. You can actually get people's like cell phone numbers and stuff like that. So I had some guy call me. Most of the stuff goes to like different numbers for me, but someone actually called my personal cell phone. They got through to it, and I was like impressed. And I'm like, how did you find this number? Like, I don't have it anywhere. And they said, seamless.ai is how he found it, and he like tracked me down, and he said it's great, and like, so check that one out as well. Okay, cool. All right, so Jeff, we got any other questions?
I don't see any in the chat, Patrick. Anybody on Zoom have any questions? There's nothing in Facebook. Oh, how do we create a keyword list for the GMB heat map? Raphael, you should know that.
Don't make the guy feel bad. Let's show him.
Right.
All right. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, cool. So this I'll tell you right now, this touches on some of the stuff that we're going to be bringing to you guys soon. And I'm excited. It's hard to keep my mouth shut with this, but I'm excited to show you. It's going to be a game changer, something we really need in our agency. So the way that you can create a keyword list. So if you go up here to keywords, right, I can go over here and I can say new list, or I can choose my existing list if I need to edit one. So you can kind of see this is the HVAC list. So I've got like AC repair, furnace repair, AC installation, furnace installation, and HVAC contractor on my list. So that's how I can create this list. I can use it in a few different spots, right? If I go to create a new heat map, then you see that there is, let's just choose one. So let's say I choose this right construction, and then I can choose I can choose between entering one keyword, or I can choose to enter a keyword list. And since this is construction, I'll choose this construction company, and it will pull whatever's on that list. So if I've got 10 keywords on that keyword list, and it's essentially going to run 10 heat maps, so like one after the other to give me that. And then what's great is like when this comes down, let's just go on to this next page here. Let's go on to page 2, and we'll see how ideal remodeling. They have all these different terms on here. So you can see that this was run 6 days ago. I didn't run this. No one on my team ran this. We scheduled it. And you can see it's going through all these different terms because those are the terms on our keyword list. So the second spot that you can use the keyword list is in scheduling. And one of the big benefits is, something that you guys should pay attention to. A lot of times, when you name your Google My Business, you should, Siri thinks I'm talking to her. When you name your Google My Business, you should kind of get a keyword in there, right? And ranking for that keyword is important, but you're not going to really blow your client up by ranking for one keyword. Usually you need a bunch of keywords. And the reason that we set this up, I have this, if you go up here, you can see there's a group by GMB option. You can also group by company. So if you've got like 5 GMBs for one company, I can group by that company, or I can group by a tag or a keyword, right? So I have a lot of different grouping options. Grouping gives you this insight into how you're ranking across a collection of keywords, right? So this average 3.39 is the average of the averages from each of these heat maps. So I can see this guy's killing it. This guy is absolutely murdering this because he's in a wealthy, populated area. And look at his rankings. Look at what he's ranking for. He's ranking that well for home remodeling and basement remodel, which, like, again, I don't know how important that is. 3.1 for remodeling contractor. look at all these different awesome terms, and his average score is a 3.39. I'll tell you what, guys, if this were my GMB, I would not be happy if I was making less than like $10,000 a month, because he's ranking so well for all these terms in such a populated, powerful market. This guy has to be killing it. And that's what you want to go after, but you have to have this data to be able to know where you are, and you need to be able to monitor it. So like one way to monitor it is like, I could go through and you can see like, these are all from June 30th. So if I chose like, let me see if I can find some real quick. So here's kitchen remodeling from June 30th. Let's see if I can find the one kitchen remodeling from June 17th. So I've got these two different ones from different dates. And what I can do is I can come up here and I can compare these and I can see what it looks like. What's changed over time, right? So 3.64. So it looks like 2 weeks ago, he was ranking a little better. Now he's at 4.57, before he was at 3.64. So he's lost a little ground in the last 2 weeks. Isn't it important to know that? So using that data in there to evaluate that. All right, I see your hand up. I just want to get back, Alfredo. I'll come to you in 1 second. The second spot that you can use these keyword lists is on our scheduling, right? So if I go here and I choose new, and then I can choose the name of the schedule, and then I can choose a keyword list that I'm going to run it for. So like construction company. So configuration is like, a configuration will save the Google My Business as well as the map that you draw. So it will combine those two. So I'll say like, hey, I've got this bear removal one where I drew a map and it's for like this specific GMB, and I'm going to run these keywords on it. And I want this to run, maybe I want this to run like every 13 days or something. And I'm going to name it this, and I'll choose the date that it starts. So I'll start this tomorrow. So whatever. So then I can start this. That's what we have running, where it just runs that. I think we have it set to 2 weeks, it looks like. So every 2 weeks or whatever, it's going to run through all those, and then we can go and evaluate those. All right, cool. Alfredo, what's up, man? How can I help you?
Hey, can you do that comparison thing again? That was cool.
Yeah, sure. Maybe the back button will get us there. There we go.
How did you?
How it's done?
Yeah.
All right. Go to this next page here. All right. So basically what I'm going to do is I want to find, like, if I wanted to compare how my terms, I think there's like 3 scenarios that you can use this compare for. So the first is like compare, like what we did the first time, where I'm comparing how I'm ranking for a term over time, right? So remodeling contractor, I just check this checkbox, and then I'm going to go and choose remodeling contractor. So this one was run on June 17th, and this other one up here was run on June 30th, right? So once I have the one selected, and I can add in more, if I want to add in, let's say I want to add in these 4, then I go up here to actions and I just say compare, right? And then it's going to load those 4 into this area, right? So the second way that you can do this is maybe you want to compare how you're ranking between your different terms, right? Okay, how am I ranking for this term versus this term versus this term? So I can get them side by side, right? And the third one is maybe compare how you're ranking versus competitors. This could be good for as a part of the screencast pitch. If you want to compare them to their competitors and get them side by side like this, that could be pretty powerful. Cool. Does that make sense, Alfredo?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even know we had this. It's super cool.
All kinds of little Easter eggs hiding in there for you guys. Cool. All right. Any other questions from you guys?
I'm not seeing any. Looks clear.
All right. Let me stop my screen share here. Okay, guys. So I would love to hear in the chat, in the Facebook chat, you guys could just throw it in there. Let us know, like, this kind of like list format. We haven't really done this before. This is kind of an experiment, and we always pay attention to the feedback that you guys give. So if you guys like this, I'd love to hear some of the takeaways that you got. And if you enjoyed this, let us know. If you know somebody else that's in the group that you think maybe they're struggling with Google My Business, and ranking it or getting them or any of the stuff that we covered. If you think that they would get some value from it, just tag them in this video so that they can check it out. We have some really valuable stuff that has crushed it in our business. And, we're trying to have an impact on you guys. So we're not charging anything to be a part of this group. But you guys can pay us by, giving us feedback and let us knowing how we're doing so we can steer the ship towards giving more value to you guys. All right. So like I said, you guys have until tomorrow, let's say 9 a.m. Eastern to register for the accountability groups. After that, it's closed. The accountability groups, if you guys need more information about that, we have a lot of videos. We have the links. Jeff, I think you have it saved as or like pinned to the top, like the information about the accountability groups. Is that right?
Yeah, it's in the group. If you just search accountability, the post should come right up and all the documents are linked there.
Awesome. So, all right, guys, we are in Q3. So, what are you going to do over the next 7 days to make Q3 be better than Q2 and better than Q1, right? You got to take the actions. You got to be proactive and go out and actually do something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to close a new client in the next 7 days, but just like Biren said, he went from like 2 GMBs to 10 GMBs since the last call. That's a pretty big win, right? So I encourage you guys to do what's necessary over the next week where you are in your business to move things forward and create some wins. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys have a great week and we'll see you in the group. Adios, amigos.
Peace.
Have a good night and throw that feedback in there if you got it for us. We appreciate it. Take care, friends. Adios.